NBC3 celebrating a milestone, 75 years on the air, serving all of you here in Central New York.
For 75 years, we have shared laughter, heartache, and joy through the magic of television. Let's take a journey back through those 75 years.
The year was 1950, and post-World War II America is falling in love with a new technology destined to change the world, television. And on February 15th of that year, the original WSYR, later to become the NBC3 we are today, went on the air.
The year is 1950, and behind us, the birthplace of WSTM, the former Kemper building on Harrison Place. Little more than a closet with room for a crude control board, a microphone, and little else. And in February 1950, the final connections are made. The station is among the first 100 in the country to become part of the NBC television network. And on February 15th, 1950, the station goes on the air for the first time.
And to kick off that 75 years of network partnership, the curtain went up with NBC's Texaco Star Theater with Milton Berle, just one of the many hit NBC shows we've brought you over the years.
Every Tuesday night, Milton Berle! Oh, gee, howdy, boys and girls. This is the first time that a television show is going commercial from Hollywood across the nation.
This is John Cameron Swayze.
Everybody's heard about Hopalong Cassidy.
The one, the only.
Oh, that's me.
Name that tune.
Chevrolet to the USA. America's the greatest land of all.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
You are.
There you go. I think you may have something here.
Eddie Redmayne is here tonight.
So I guess that's how it's going to be.
From our first home at Kemper Place, we then moved to a converted garage. In 1958, we moved our studios into our current home at 1030 James Street with a state-of-the-art studio, what some called a media city, the current home of NBC3 News.
When we come back, we'll take a look at local shows that entertain Central New York viewers.
I'm Lisa Spitz, and I'll introduce you to the local legends born from their shows on Channel 3.
Happy anniversary, NBC3.
Prior to 1958, Channel 3 programs that weren't live in the studio were on film, black and white until '54. Early on, those films were played on an improvised rig of projectors and equipment. Note the modified truck mirror in this setup. But it wasn't long before our projection system was top of the line. For Channel 3, the advent of videotape in 1958 marked a big but shaky first step of the high-tech revolution in television broadcasting.
I've had no greater recognition than when 8th grade students here in the community were given an 8th grade Regents exam. And they were asked to write about Americans that have made great contributions to New York State. And they were given Washington and Roosevelt and numerous names. And one of the names they were given was Jackie Robinson. And the test makers were looking for the students to write about the Brooklyn Dodger that stole the baseball. And instead, hundreds of students around here wrote about me, their homegrown news anchor that broke the color barrier in communications. And so ultimately, all of those students would have failed this 8th grade Regents exam, but the Regents said that I met all the criteria, and ultimately I was honored by the governor of New York State as an outstanding African American of distinction here in New York State, and the students all passed.
Welcome back, I'm Lisa Spitz. While national network shows wowed audiences, they did not have a monopoly on stars. Channel 3 has a long history of our own local celebrities. From the earliest days, we featured many local stars and shows as well.
Beautiful, isn't it? Day Kitchen, where we try to bring you recipes that you might like to add.
Kay Russell's Ladies' Day was a long-running favorite, featuring fashion and bridal shows and interviews with Hollywood celebrities.
Okay, now you hold on to yours and
I'll hold on to mine, yes.
Viewers were treated to Denny Sullivan and the Gang, a one-of-a-kind show with an on-staff orchestra. And hosting movies on Channel 3, Charlie Featherstone as Canyon Jack.
This is Canyon Jack. Each night at 6 o'clock on this channel.
And of course, the cult classic Monster Movie Matinee.
I said, don't you agree? Ipal, you're not listening to me.
Forgive me, kind host. It's beginning increasingly difficult to focus my attentions. My thoughts wander. It is beginning. It's time.
Speaking of books, I should continue my entries in this ancient chronicle of the family
Of course, kind host. I recall that you were about to add my name to the list
Do you understand me, Ipal? Your head is all that remains.
And now, steaming into port, here is your host, Magical George the Magician.
Later would come STM Showboat for the kids with a live children's audience.
Here comes the STM Showboat!
It's time. Time for the STM Club with Scooby-Doo. Time for fun with all your favorites.
And the STM Club with cartoons and skits, many featuring behind-the-scenes station employees.
You have to go into a disguise. That's all.
Bowling for Dollars had bowlers competing weeknights on lanes right next to the current NBC3 studio.
It's time to hit Sanford. Right here in Syracuse.
NBC3 has a rich history of entertaining and informing.
When we come back, we take a look at 75 years of news in Central New York and hear from some familiar faces.
I was the first reporter in the newsroom who was a woman. That had its own challenges as well.
Plus, we'll look at 75 years of weather and the technology to keep you safe.
I remember when I came here, it was 1976. And so I came here on the tail end of some of the greats in local broadcasting. I got to see like the Jim DeLine show, Bowling for Dollars with Bud Henniger, met Joel Marinas, Fred Hill, some of the old timers who really established television in Central New York. And I got to witness some of the live programming that we actually did in these studios. And it was quite an exciting time. And I got in on the tail end of that. And then I stayed with the station through a number of different changes in the way we do things here locally.
Doppler the weathercat. How did the name Doppler come about? We got it from Doppler radar, but we had people write in. We had a contest back then. And the contest was write in and let us know, how we're going to name the weather cat. And the name that we pick will give you, I think it was like a small portable TV. Okay. This is back, obviously, a while ago. Okay? Well, over 2 weeks' time, we had over 11,000 people write in, okay, for Name the Weather Cat. And we did choose Doppler.
One of my most memorable stories that I covered was Vanessa Williams, the first Black Miss America. And I had covered her locally here at Nottingham High School and on the statewide level. And we were sent to Atlantic City. And when she was named Miss America, it was a great moment. And we were recognized along with the national news when she recognized me, and we were able to ask questions. And we had just followed her from, a Syracuse University student locally. And I remember so many people thinking, nobody from Syracuse is going to become Miss America. And it was just a big deal. And I remember coming back, and it made so much news that, people were asking, who I was and what we were covering and that sort of thing. And it was just a different time.
Welcome back. NBC3 News has come a long way in 75 years, from the early days of news with local legend Fred Hilligus.
Hello, I'm Fred Hilligus, your ESSA reporter, who brings you complete news.
When a newscast was only 15 minutes, to the advent of film and videotape that let our journalists get to the scene of breaking news. Plus, new technology now lets our journalists bring you the news from anywhere live.
Reporting here in the village of Camden, I'm Connor White.
Here in the center of downtown Rome.
Reporting live in Oswego, I'm Dale Ostrander.
Now NBC3 brings you more than 30 hours of news a week, along with continuous updates to our digital and social platforms. And we host town halls that go in depth on the topics that impact our community.
But one thing that has made it all possible are the people, and people who broke barriers, like Laura Hand.
I was the first reporter in the newsroom who was a woman. Starting when I walked through the door for the first time here at NBC3, I was wearing a pantsuit. Women were not allowed to wear pants. That changed within a day.
And Jackie Robinson, the first African-American female anchor at the station.
I was so grateful for the opportunity to become the first female African-American anchor at Channel 3. And even when I started, just the opportunity that I was given, that I just wanted to be representative of my community and to tell those stories and be able to come into your home each and every night and tell you why those stories were important and how they affected you and how it was affecting the community. And I think that's what was the biggest thing, and representation was so important for people to see someone like me on the news.
News legends like Fred Hilligus paved the way for many great journalists at NBC3. Some who made their name at the network news level, such as Steve Croft, Bob Costas, and Jeff Glor, just to name a few. Investigative reporting's always been part of our DNA.
I exposed a conspiracy among trash haulers in Onondaga County.
Our trash bills got bigger. Meanwhile, something sinister was happening. Some private trash haulers were ripping off the system, until an Action News investigation in 1991 uncovered a complicated fraud and bribery scandal.
I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know what you have.
Allegations that you weighted trucks.
Will you just shut that off a second, please?
Can you shut the camera off, please?
We're rolling.
And the I-Team continues that tradition of holding officials accountable and being a voice for the voiceless.
The tech consultant was leading the way on a new information technology system that has bogged down over 2 years and is not operational.
Our I-Team explored a whistleblower complaint that brought serious concerns to City Hall and the State Attorney General.
As plans unraveled with the $32 million Children Rising Center last week, Wilson called the I-Team.
If you're going to tell us all this is wrong, this is going to be built, this is going to happen, come to this meeting, look at this animation.
I'm meteorologist Peter Hall. While central New Yorkers are used to snow, we have had our share of big storms and damaging thunderstorms as well. For example, the big blizzards of 66 and 93, the North Country ice storm, and the Labor Day storm of 98.
I think most of us, first of all, remember Labor Day storm of 98. Okay. The derecho that came through did tremendous damage and a couple of deaths. That was probably the most memorable, arguably the most devastating. I was actually forecasting for the state fair that Sunday night. And I was on the phone with them at like 11:30, 11:35 at night, warning them this big storm was coming in. And by that time, fortunately, the concert was over, people were leaving, but there was still a lot of people around starting to tear down the concert area, okay, because the next day they were going to have the demolition derby. So I remember warning them, get everybody into, shelter, whatever, as fast as you can. Down there, it's going to come through 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then, of course, the next morning, seeing the incredible damage and hearing about the loss of life, that's number one. Over 37 years on my list was that.
And from the early days of weather wires, the technology and tools have grown by leaps and bounds, helping the Weather Authority create more accurate forecasts, keeping you better prepared for severe weather.
Live triple Doppler.
That's moving through our area this evening. But there's nothing like being out in the weather. That's why you're going to see us out here on the weather deck every show right here on NBC3. Yet another reason to trust the Weather Authority.
Now, I'll tell you firsthand and also from other folks.
When we come back, we look at what it means for NBC3 to be part of this community.
Congratulations, NBC3, on 75 years.
Welcome back to the WSTM 75th Anniversary Special. Just like you, Central New York is our home. We take great pride in being part of this vibrant community.
We help support worthy causes, helping to raise funds for community organizations like the Food Bank of Central New York.
Your overwhelming generosity will help the Food Bank of CNY feed so many families right here at home. Thank you.
The Upstate Foundation and Golisano Children's Hospital, just to name a few.
We are here at Upstate Golisano Children's Hospital and Upstate University Hospital, teaming up with the Upstate Foundation, Y94 FM, and News Radio 570 WSYR for our annual Radiothon for Kids. A super important effort that we've been doing for a number of years here to raise money for the Children's Hospital.
Your overwhelming generosity will help so many young children here at home. Thank you.
Book breaks, which we did for 30 years here at NBC3.
And we enjoy getting out into the community for events such as the St. Patrick's Parade, the Great New York State Fair, our Your Town series, and many more. Good evening, everybody. I'm Matt Mulcahy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Colvin. So glad to be with you, broadcasting live from Cortland tonight. We're so glad to have you with us on this very first day of the New York State Fair. We have some folks behind us. Hi, guys.
There's no place that you're going to get to meet so many great people, at the same time in the same place. Okay. So that was one of the things that you look forward to, is meeting the people at the State Fair.
Across Syracuse, as an extended transition from spring to summer continues in the most delicious of ways this weekend. Good evening. I'm Matt Mulcahy. Megan's at Taste of Syracuse.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Congratulations, Channel 3, for 75 years. That's how old I am.
Congratulations, NBC3, on 75 years serving Central New York.
Happy anniversary, NBC3. Can you believe it's been 75 years?
Congratulations. Happy 75th anniversary, NBC3.
Happy 75th anniversary, NBC3.
Happy anniversary, NBC3, on 75 great years.